أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Similarly to how I read through some of the historical accounts of the battle itself, I want to do the same sort of thing for the aftermath of the battle. These are different accounts from historical sources and different maqata that we have about Karbala, and it'll take us through from the end of the battle. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وأقبل القوم على سلب الحسين عليه السلام فسلبوا جميع ما كان عليه. After the battle was done, Imam Hussein had been killed, his head had been severed, and the next travesty that occurred was the stripping, almost the ceremonious stripping of his body. So we have identified the different people who took different parts of his equipment and his clothing. Ishaq ibn Huwayya took his shirt, some sort of a tunic that he had on top. Bahr ibn Ka'ab took his pants. The imama went to Al-Akhnas ibn Marthad. وَأَخَذَ بُرْنُسَهُ, the hood that he wore, kind of a hood that he would pull over, that was taken by Malik ibn Nasr. His shoes were taken by Al-Aswad ibn Khalid. His sword was stolen by Al-Qalanis al-Nahshali. And like that, piece after piece, it came to a ring that he had on his hand. And you can imagine in battle and stuff how your hands swell, and maybe from injuries and things. His ring, it wouldn't come off from his hand. And so this one person by the name of Bajdal ibn Sulaym al-Kalbi, he tried pulling the ring off of the Imam's hand and it wouldn't come off, so he severed the finger so that he could remove the ring from his hand. And like that, piece by piece, they stripped him. He had taken the precaution ahead of time to wear tattered clothes underneath. Right? We know that in the preparation for battle, he knew something like this would happen, so he made sure he wore tattered clothes underneath so that at least they would leave that. They might still seal the things on top, but they would leave what's underneath. Even that was taken. Even the tattered shirt that he wore inside, even that was taken from the Imam. Fatima al-Sughra, Fatima, the daughter of Imam al-Hussein, she narrates to her son Al-Hasan al-Muthanna. Hasan al-Muthanna was also there. He had lost one hand in the battle, and he was not able to complete the battle, and he didn't die during the battle. He narrates this afterwards from his mother. قالت دخلت الغانمة علينا الفسطاط وأنا جارية صغيرة. So she says that the looters from Ibn Ziyad's army, they came to our tents, and I was but a young girl at the time, she says. وفي رجلي خلخالان من ذهب. I had these two golden anklets on my two legs, on my two ankles. فجعل رجل يفض الخلخالين من رجلي وهو يبكي. This man comes and he starts to yank, he tries to pry off these anklets from my legs, and as he's doing it, he's crying himself. فَقُلْتُ مَا يُبْكِيكَ يَا عَدُوَّ اللَّهِ. This little girl, she says, "O enemy of God, why are you crying? What's making you cry when you do this?" فَقَالَ كَيْفَ لَا أَبْكِي وَأَنَا أَسْلُبُ إِبْنَةَ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. How can I not cry when I am stealing something? I'm looting something from the daughter of the Messenger of Allah. فَقُلْتُ لَا تَسْلُبْنِي. Then don't do it. Don't take my things from me. قَالَ أَخَافُ أَنْ يَجِيءَ غَيْرِي فَيَأْخُذَ. If I don't take it, I'm afraid someone else will beat me to it and they'll take it instead. So he continued and he took the anklets from Fatima al-Sughra's legs. وانتهوا إلى علي بن الحسين زين العابدين وهو منبسط على فراشه وهو شديد المرض كان مريضا بالذرب. So they enter the tents, and the troops, they come and they encounter Imam Zain al-Abidin, who is still lying sick, he was given by Allah some sort of a diarrhea type of thing where he was completely drained of all his energy, and he couldn't do anything. There was a way for Allah to protect him from having to fight, and also at this juncture, which we'll see. وَقَدْ أَشْرَفَ عَلَى الْمَوْتِ. He was on the verge of death. وَمَعَ الشَّمْرِ جَمَاعَةٌ مِنَ الرَّجَالَ. Right, so some of the infantrymen came in with Shamr into the tent where Imam Zayn al-Abidin was. فَقَالُوا لَهُ أَلَا نَقْتُلُ هَذَا الْعَلِيلِ. They asked Shamr, should we kill this sick one as well? فَأَرَادَ الشَّمْرِ قَتْلَهُ. So Shamr said, yes, that's fine, let's kill him as well. Make a clean sweep of it. فَقَالَ لَهُ حُمَيْدُ بْنُ مُسْلِمْ سُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ أَتُقْتَلُ الصِّبْيَانِ. So one of Shimr's own troops, he says, are we going to kill even these guys? He calls him a Sibyan. I don't know if it's it might be like an insult, because we know the Imam was 24 or so years old at the time. It seems like an insult. We're going to kill these kids as well. He's belittling the Imam as he says this. But at the same time, luckily, he's arguing with Shimr that, are we going to kill them too? Let's just leave them. إِنَّمَا هُوَ الصَّبِيُّ وَإِنَّهُ لِمَا بِهِ. He says, it looks like he's going to die anyway. Why take the extra effort to kill him? Let's let him die of his own sickness. فَلَمْ يَزَلْ يَدْفَعُهُمْ عَنْهُ. So this Humayd ibn Muslim, he keeps on kind of discouraging the others from killing Imam Zayn al-Abidin. حَتَّى جَاءَ عُمَرُ بْنُ سَعَدٍ فَصَاحَ النِّسَاءُ فِي وَجْهِهِ وَبَكَيْنَ. Right, so when Umar ibn Sa'ad finally comes to settle the dispute amongst the murderers, the women start to cry out and to call out. فَقَالَ لِأَصْحَابِهِ لَا يَدْخُلْ أَحَدٌ مِنْكُمْ بَيْتَ هَؤُلَاءِ النِّسْوَةِ. Because the women are crying out, Umar ibn Sa'ad, as evil as he was from Medina. He had a connection with the family of the Ahlul Bayt. He knew them from childhood. So he says, leave the women alone. Right? Don't go into the women's tents. وَلَا تَتَعَرَّضُوا لِهَذَا الْغُلَامِ الْمَرِيضِ. And don't touch this man either, the sick man, Imam Zayn al-Abidin. Leave him alone too. وَمَنْ أَخَذَ مِنْ مَتَاعِهِنَّ شَيْئًا فَلْيَرُدَّ. Anyone who's taken anything from the women, he should return it. فَلَمْ يَرُدَّ أَحَدٌ شَيْئًا. They left him alone, but no one returned anything that they had taken from the women. وَلَمَّا ارْتَفَعَ صِيَاحُ النِّسَاءِ غَضِبَ اللَّعِينُ عُمَرُ بْنُ سَعَدٍ وَصَاحَ يَا وَيْلَكُمْ اكْبِسُوا عَلَيْهِنَّ الْخِبَاءِ. So Umar ibn Sa'ad, he becomes very upset by the commotion that the women are causing. Right? They're at fault because they're crying out and yelling too much. And so Umar ibn Sa'ad gets very upset, and he says, destroy these tents with these women who are crying so much. وَأَضْرِمُوهَا نَارًا وَأَحْرِقُوهَا وَمَا فِيهَا. He says, go ahead and burn these tents of theirs with whatever's in it, whoever's in it. فَقَالَ رَجُلٌ مِّنْهُمْ وَيْلَكَ يَا ابْنَ سَعَدٍ أَمَا كَفَاكَ قَتْلُ الْحُسَيْنِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامُ وَأَهْلِ بَيْتِهِ وَأَنصَارِهِ. So again, one of his own troops comes and scolds Ibn Sa'ad and says, isn't it enough that you killed Hussein and his family and his companions? عَنْ حَرْقِ أَطْفَالِهِ وَنِسَائِهِ. Do you have to proceed further and kill and burn his children and the women of his family? لَقَدْ أَرَدْتَ أَنْ يَخْسِفَ اللَّهُ بِنَا الْأَرْضِ. It seems like you're intent on having Allah make the earth swallow us up with the kinds of evil that you're telling us to commit this day. فَتَبَادَرُوا إِلَى نَهْبِ النِّسَاءِ الطَّاهِرَاتِ. So they went to instead of burning the tents with the women, they took all the women out, took all of their things, and then they went for the tents. ثُمَّ أُخْرِجَ النِّسَاء مِنَ الْخَيْمَةِ وَأَشْعَلُوا فِيهَا النَّارِ. So they took the women out, and then they lit the tents on fire. فَخَرَجْنَا حَوَاسِرَ مُسَلَّبَاتٍ حَافِيَاتٍ بَاكِيَاتٍ يَمْشِينَ سِبَايَا فِي أَسْرِ الذِّلَّةِ. So the women come out, having all of their things taken from them, their outer garments and their shoes and everything is taken from them, and they're forced to come out of their tents without any sort of cover or protection. They walk as slaves in a very kind of lowly and wretched state. وَقُلْنَا بِحَقِّ اللَّهِ إِلَّا مَا مَرَرْتُمْ بِنَا عَلَى مَصْرَعِ الْحُسَيْنِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ. They say, at very least, even though you've disgraced us in this way by pulling us out of our tents, they say, at least don't make us pass by where Hussein's body is. فَلَمَّا نَظَرَ النِّسْوَةُ إِلَى الْقَتْلَى صِحْنَا وَضَرَبْنَا وُجُوهَهُنَّ. But they do anyway. They guide them and they take them right by where all the dead bodies are, and the women begin crying again because of the horror of what they see of the dead bodies. ونادى عمر بن سعد في أصحابه من ينتدب للحسين فيوطئ الخيل ظهره وصدره. Umar ibn Sa'ad, after doing all this, he asked for volunteers from his own troops, from his own army. He says, who will volunteer? This isn't an order now, it's a voluntary thing that he's doing. Who will volunteer to take their horses and trample over Hussein's body on his front and on his back, on his chest and on his back. فَانْتَدَبَ مِنْهُمْ عَشَرَةً. 10 people eagerly volunteered for this. Ishaq ibn Huwayya, the same one who had stolen the tunic of the Imam, he volunteered. Al-Akhnas ibn Marthad, who had stolen the imama, the turban of the Imam, he volunteered. The third one, Hakim ibn Tufail as-Sanbasi, he's the one who had helped to kill Abbas. Amr ibn Subayh as-Saydawi, who had thrown or cast an arrow at Abdullah ibn Muslim, he was also one of the volunteers. And the fifth was Raja ibn Munqidh, the sixth Salim ibn Khaythama, the seventh Salih ibn Wahab, the eighth Wahid ibn Ghanim, the ninth Hani ibn Thubayt, and the 10th Usayd ibn Malik. So these 10 people, they volunteered for this job. فَدَاسُ الْحُسَيْنِ بِحَوَافِرِ خَيْلِهِمْ حَتَّى رَدُّوا ظَهْرَهُ وَصَدْرَهُ الشَّرِيفِ. So they laid his body down, and these 10, they rode their horses over the body. They first crushed his chest, and then they turned the body over, and they ran over him again and crushed his back. وَجَاءَ هَؤُلَاءِ الْعَشَرَةُ حَتَّى وَقَفُوا عَلَى ابْنِ زِيَادٍ. Later on, the narrator says that these 10 people, they came in front of Ibn Ziyad to collect their reward for doing such a noble act. فَقَالَ أُسَيْدُ بْنُ مَالِكَ أَحَدُهُمْ. So he recites some poetry to praise himself. Then Ibn Ziyad responds and says, Man antum, who are you? He talks to these 10 people as though he has no idea who they are. Man antum. قالوا نحن الذين وطأنا بخيولنا ظهر الحسين حتى طحنا جناجن صدره. They say, we are the ones who crushed the back of Hussein with our horses until we totally crushed the sternum in his chest. فأمر لهم بجائزة يسيرة. So he asks one of his servants to go and get them something and gives them some very paltry sort of reward for this deed of theirs. The narrator says, فَنَظَرْنَا فِي هَؤُلَاءِ الْعَشَرَةِ. We looked at these 10 people and we identified who they were. فَوَجَدْنَاهُمْ جَمِيعًا أَوْلَادَ زِنَا. He said that when we noticed who they were and what their lineage was, we realized they were all bastard children, illegitimate children who had been born out of wedlock. Right, that's one of the things that we know about people who are one of the things, the only people who have the gall to be able to rise and kill a prophet or an imam is somebody who is born out of wedlock. That doesn't mean that all people born out of wedlock are destined to be evil, but that's one of the qualities, one of the things that works against a person. If he's born like that, then that's one of the problems that he has to overcome. And all the people who've ever killed prophets or imams have been like this. وَهَؤُلَاءِ أَخَذَهُمُ الْمُخْتَارِ فَشَدَّ أَيْدِيَهُمْ وَأَرْجُلَهُم بِسِكَكِ الْحَدِيدِ وَأَوْطَأَ الْخَيْلَ ظُهُورَهُم حَتَّى هَلَكُوا. Years later, 4 or 5 years later, when Mukhtar rises up, he finds these same 10 people. He shackles their arms and their legs, lays them down, and has his army ride their horses on them while they're still alive to crush them and teach them a lesson and take revenge on them for what they did to Imam Hussein's body. Recite with salawat, please. وبعد الزوال ارتحل ابن سعد إلى الكوفة ومعه نساء الحسين. So they wait until the time of Dhuhr at Karbala, and then Umar ibn Sa'ad, he takes the women as prisoners and all of the children and all of the young girls and everyone who's left, he takes them all as prisoners and goes towards Kufa. وَكُنَّ عِشْرِينَ إِمْرَأَةً. There were 20 women in all. وَسَيَّرُوهُنَّ عَلَى أَقْتَابِ الْجِمَالِ بِغَيْرِ وِطَاءٍ كَمَا يُسَاقُ سَبْيُ التُّرْكِ وَالرُّومِ. So the narrator says that they were put on camel backs, but there was no saddle that was put on the camels. Right? So apparently riding on a camel back, bare back is very uncomfortable. Right? So they were made to sit like that. The way, he says, the prisoners of like Turkish and Byzantine prisoners. At that time, they were kuffar, they were enemies, and so when they would be captured in battles and stuff, they would be brought to the markets in this way. That's how the Ahlul Bayt are taken, as slaves and prisoners of war into Kufa. وَهُنَّ وَدَائِعُ خَيْرِ الْأَنْبِيَاءِ, despite the fact that they were the legacy left by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَمَعَهُنَّ السَّجَّادِ عَلِيُّ بْنُ الْحُسَيْنِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ وَعُمْرُهُ 23 سَنَةً. Imam al-Sajjad was 23 years according to this narration at the time, and he was also amongst these 20 women taken as a prisoner. وَهُوَ عَلَى بَعِيرٍ ضَالِعٍ بِغَيْرِ وِطَاءٍ. So he was also put onto a camel, and his camel had a kind of a limp, right? And so that made it even more painful. When it would walk, it would kind of jerk and jerk and jerk. And also he had no saddle, and so that really weighed heavily and caused a lot of pain to him. وَقَدْ أَنْهَكَتْهُ الْعِلَّةِ. Right? That was on top of the disease or the sickness that he had because of the diarrhea and whatever else Allah had given him on the battlefield. So he was totally weak, and then he has to sit on this camel. وَمَعَهُ وَلَدُهُ مُحَمَّدٌ الْبَاقِرُ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامُ وَلَهُ سَنَتَانُ وَالشُّهُورُ. Along with Imam Sajjad, his son Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, he was also about 2 and some months old, 2 years and some months old. He was also sitting on top of the camel with the fourth Imam. ومن أولاد الإمام الحسن المجتبى ومن أولاد الإمام الحسن المجتبى زيد وعامر والحسن المثنى. Right, so there are also these 3 boys, the sons of Imam al-Hasan, who were also with Imam Sajjad in the same caravan. وكان معهم عقبة بن سمعان مولى الرباب زوجة الحسين. This Uqbah ibn Sam'an, he was also captured as a prisoner. He is, thankfully, because of him, we have a lot of these narrations of the goings on in the camp and on the battlefield. He was a servant, and he observed everything. He was part of all the conversations, and so many of the narrations, they go back to this Uqbah ibn Sam'an. So these people were all together as prisoners of war were taken into Kufa. This one person named Sahl ibn Habib, he says, كنت قد أقبلت في تلك السنة أريد الحج إلى بيت الله الحرام. So he was on his way to Mecca for Hajj, and on his way he was passing through Kufa, and it happened to be the same time that all of this was happening. So he's a foreigner coming through. فدخلت الكوفة فوجدت الأسواق معطلة والدكاكين مغلقة. So he says, when I came into Kufa, I saw that all the bazaars are closed, like they're not doing business. وَالنَّاسْ مُجْتَمِعُونَ خَلْقًا كَثِيرًا حَلَقًا. And he sees that all the people, instead of working, they're all, it circles, all talking, and there's a lot of commotion going on in the public squares, but no, it looks like some sort of holiday going on. مِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَبْكِي سِرًّا وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَضْحَكُ جَهْرًا. Amongst these people in Kufa that he sees some are kind of hiding their tears, they're crying. Other people are very openly laughing in Kufa. فَتَقَدَّمْتُ إِلَى شَيْخٍ مِّنْهُمْ وَقُلْتُ لَهُ يَا شَيْخ مَا نَزَلَ بِكُمْ أَرَاكُمْ مُجْتَمِعِينَ كَتَائِبٍ أَلَكُمْ عِيدٌ لَسْتُ أَعْرِفُهُ لِلْمُسْلِمِينَ. So he walks up to this old man and he asks him, he says, what's going on here? He says, I see that you're all gathered in these groups. Is there some new Eid for Muslims that I don't know of? Right? Maybe I'm a new Muslim, I don't know all their Eids. Is there some new Eid that I haven't heard of yet? فَأَخَذَ بِيَدِي وَعَدَلَ بِي نَاحِيَةً عَنِ النَّاسِ. So the old man, he grabs my hand and he takes me to the side, away from other people. وَقَالَ يَا سَيِّدِي مَا لَنَا عِيد ثُمَّ بَكَى بِحُرْقَةٍ وَنَحِيبٍ. He says to this traveler, he says, no, there's no Eid going on here. And he begins to cry in this very kind of a passionate way. فَقُلْتُ أَخْبِرْنِي يَرْحَمْكَ اللَّهِ. He says, tell me what's going on. Why are you crying? قال إن بكاءهم بسبب عسكرين أحدهما منصور والآخر مهزوم مقهور. He says that these people who are crying, they're crying because of 2 armies who met. One of them was victorious, and one of them was destroyed and vanquished. فَقُلْتُ لِمَنْ هَذَانِ الْعَسْكَرَانِ. So who did these 2 armies belong to? What were these 2 armies that fought? فَقَالَ عَسْكَرُ بْنِ زِيَادٍ وَهُوَ ظَافِرٌ مَنْصُورٌ وَعَسْكَرُ الْحُسَيْنِ ibn Ali وَهُوَ مَهْزُومٌ مَكْسُورٌ. He says one was Ibn Ziyad's army, that was the one that was victorious, and one belonged to Hussein ibn Ali, and that's the one that was vanquished. ثم قال وحرقة أن يدخل علينا رأس الحسين. Right, so at that time they were having this conversation, and that's when it was announced that the heads of the martyrs of Karbala are going to be brought into Kufa. فما استتم كلامه إذ سمعت البوقات تضرب والرايات تخفق قد أقبلت. So he says that as this is going on, suddenly there's a big kind of the boisterous things, drums being beaten, trumpets being sounded, that something big is about to happen. فبددت طرفي وإذا بالعسكر قد أقبل ودخل الكوفة. So when I looked, I saw that the army was marching into Kufa, the army of Ibn Ziyad. فلما انقضى دخوله سمعت صيحة عالية وإذا برأس الحسين. Suddenly I heard this uproar amongst the people, and I looked and I saw Imam al-Husayn's head being carried in on a spear. قد أقبل على رمح طويل وقد لاحت شواربه والنور يخرج ساطعا من فيه حتى يلحق بعنان السماء فخنقتني العبرة لما رأيته. He says that I saw Imam al-Husayn's head elevated on a very tall spear, and his beard and his hair was all kind of soaked with blood. And he says that there was some light, resplendence in his face, and this light seemed to emanate from him and go into the sky. And this person who's narrating this, he is overcome with grief and he begins to cry because of what he sees. ثم أقبلت السبايا. So after the head of Imam Hussein is brought in, the army starts to come in, then it's time for the prisoners of war. وإذا بعلي بن الحسين على بعير بلا غطاء ولا وطاء. So Ali ibn al-Husayn, Imam Zayn al-Abidin, he is brought in on this camel with no saddle. وفخذاه ينضخان دما. His legs, where he's sitting without any protection, they're bleeding from the friction and the pain. ورأيت جارية على بعير بغير غطاء ولا وطاء. And then I saw, this narrator, he says, I saw a young girl, not a young girl, but a woman on another camel, also without any saddle. فسألت عنها. He asked someone, who is this woman? فقيل لي هذه أم كلثوم وهي تنادي يا أهل الكوفة غضوا أبصاركم عنا أما تستحيون من الله ورسوله أن تنظروا إلى حرم رسول الله وهن حواسر. So Kulthum is calling out to the people of Kufa and saying, please, people of Kufa, lower your gazes. Are you not ashamed to look at the women from the household of the Prophet while they are uncovered, they don't have any hijab and covering on them? Have shame and look away from us. They're carried into the mosque of Kufa, where Ibn Ziyad has assembled a kind of a court. ثم إن زين العابدين أومأ إلى الناس أن اسكتوا فلما سكتوا حمد الله وأثنى عليه وذكر النبي فصلى عليه. Imam Zayn al-Abidin points to the people and gets them to quiet down, and then he begins speaking to them. He praises Allah, he praises the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then he says, أيها الناس من عرفني فقد عرفني ومن لم يعرفني فأنا علي بن الحسين ابن علي بن أبي طالب. If you know me and recognize me, then I don't need to tell you anything. But if you don't know who I am, then know that I am Ali ibn al-Husayn, the son of Imam al-Husayn, the son of Abu Talib, Ali ibn Abi Talib. أنا ابن من انتهكت حرمته وسلبت نعمته وانتهب ماله وسبي عياله. I am the son of one whose sanctity has been trampled, whose worldly possessions have been looted, whose property and money has been looted, and whose family has been taken prisoner. أنا ابن المذبوح بشط الفرات. I'm the son of one who was slaughtered on the banks of the Euphrates. من غير ذحل ولا تراح. أنا ابن من قتل صبرا وكفى بذلك فخرا. He says, I'm the son of one who was killed in a gruesome and terrible way, and this death of his and the shahada that my father experienced is a great source of pride for me. أيها الناس ناشدتكم بالله هل تعلمون أنكم كتبتم إلى أبي وخدعتموه He says, people, do you know that you're the ones who wrote those letters to my father, and you're the ones who deceived him and tricked him and abandoned him? أعطيتموه من أنفسكم العهود والميثاق والبيعة وقاتلتموه. You're the ones who made him all these promises and pledges of allegiance, and you're the ones who fought against him. فَتَبًّا لَكُمْ لِمَا قَدَّمْتُمْ لِأَنفُسِكُمْ. He says, death to you, may you be destroyed for what you have done to yourselves. وَسَوْءَةً لِرَأْيِكُمْ بِأَيَّةِ عَيْنٍ تَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَآلِهِ إِذْ يَقُولُ لَكُمْ قَتَلْتُمْ عِتْرَتِي وَانْتَهَكْتُمْ حُرْمَتِي فَلَسْتُمْ مِنْ أُمَّتِي. He says, how will you even be able to look at the Messenger of Allah on the Day of Judgment when he tells you that you're the ones who killed my family, you're the ones who trampled my sanctity. And he disowns you and says, you're not part of my ummah. What will you say to him on that day? فَارْتَفَعَتْ أَصْوَاتُ النَّاسِ بِالْبُكَاءِ مِنْ كُلِّ نَاحِيَةٍ. So from all around in the masjid, people started to cry out of regret and remorse for what they have done. وَقَالَ بَعْضُهُمْ لِبَعْضٍ هَلَكْتُمْ وَمَا تَعْلَمُونَ. They start telling each other, we've destroyed ourselves. We unknowingly, unwittingly, we destroyed ourselves by acting in this way. ثم قال عليه السلام رحم الله امرأ قبل نصيحتي. Even at this point, the Imam, after seeing all this, after being betrayed by the Kufans, he's still looking out for them. He says, may Allah have mercy on anyone who accepts this advice from me. وَحَفِظَ وَصِيَّتِي فِي اللَّهِ وَفِي رَسُولِهِ وَأَهْلِ بَيْتِهِ. And anyone who guards the wasiyah of of Imam Hussein for my successorship for him. فَإِنَّ لَنَا فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةً حَسَنَةً. فقالوا بأجمعهم نحن كلنا يا ابن رسول الله سامعون مطيعون حافظون لذمامك غير زاهدين فيك. So they, in unison, they all start to pledge their allegiance to Imam Zayn al-Abidin on the spot. They say, we all hear and we obey. We will we'll guard you and take care of you, and we want to support you. وَلَا رَاغِبِينَ عَنْكَ. We're never going to turn away from you again. فَمُرْنَا بِأَمْرِكَ يَرْحَمْكَ اللَّهِ. Tell us, command us, and we'll hear and we'll obey whatever you command us to do. فَإِنَّا حَرْبٌ لِحَرْبِكَ وَسِلْمٌ لِسِلْمِكَ. We'll fight when you say fight. We'll make peace when you say make peace. وَنَبْرَأُ مِمَّنْ ظَلَمَكَ وَظَلَمَنَا. And we'll wash our hands and cut our ties with these people who have wronged you and wronged us. Right? They make all these promises once again. The Kufans, this is the fourth time they've done this. To Imam Ali, to Imam Hassan, to Imam Hussein, and now to Imam Sajjad. Lots and lots of empty promises. Imam Sajjad sees right through it. He says, Hayhat, hayhat, ayyuhal ghadaratul makara. Now you deceiving people who are tricksters. حِيلَ بَيْنَكُمْ وَبَيْنَ الشَّهَوَاتِ أَنفُسِكُمْ. He says, I wish there was something to stop you from getting to what you desire. You have all the shahwa for worldly power and worldly blessings. I wish something would come and block you from getting to what you desire. أَتُرِيدُونَ أَن تَأْتُوا إِلَيَّ كَمَا أَتَيْتُمْ إِلَى أَبِي مِنْ قَبْلِ. Do you dare now come to me with the same empty promises that you came with to my father? كلا ورب الراقصات إلى منى فإن الجرح لما يندمل. He says the wounds are still a little too fresh for me to hear such empty promises from you. قتل أبي بالأمس وأهل بيته معه. He says that my father was killed yesterday and our whole family was killed with him. ولم ينسى ثكل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وثكل أبي وبني أبي. And he says that the wounds from the death of the Prophet and my father and my brother, they are still fresh in my mind as well. You had roles in all of their deaths, and all those wounds are still fresh. إن وجده والله لبين لهاتي ومرارته بين حناجري وحلقي وغصته تجري في فراش صدري ومسألتي أن تكون لا لنا ولا علينا. He says, my only request of you Kufans, I don't want any empty promises from you. Simply don't be for us and don't be against us. Right? That's the best I can hope for from you, Ahl Kufa. Right? When you promise to be with us, you come and fight against us and kill us. Right? If you go and help the enemy, that's also no help to us. At least just leave us alone. Don't come and try to help us because you'll mess that up. Don't try to be against us because that will be the end of you. ثم إن ابن زياد جلس في القصر وأذن للناس إذنا عاما. So Ibn Ziyad comes and he sits in the palace and he gives creates this atmosphere of kind of a public court where everyone can come in. Anyone who can fit can come into the court. وَجِيءَ بِرَأْسِ الْحُسَيْنِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ وَوَضِعَ بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ. Then after he's sitting on his throne and all the people are around, he ceremoniously asks his servants to bring in the head of Imam al-Hussein and has it placed in front of him. وَأُدْخِلَ نِسَاءُ الْحُسَيْنِ وَصِبْيَانُهُ إِلَيْهِ. And once the head is in place and Ibn Ziyad is in place, then he has all the women from the Ahlul Bayt and the companions. They're also brought in along with their children. وَوُضِعَ الرَّأْسِ بَيْنَ يَدَيْ إِبْنِ زِيَادٍ فَجَعَلَ اللَّعِينَ يَنْظُرُ إِلَيْهِ وَيَتَبَسَّمُ. So when the head's put in front of Ibn Ziyad, he starts to stare at the face of Imam Hussein and he begins to smile. وَيَقُولُ مَا أَسْرَعَ الشَّيْبِ إِلَيْكَ يَا حُسَيْنَ. And it seems like you've suddenly turned old, Hussein. All of a sudden, I see gray hairs on your face. لَقَدْ كُنْتَ حَسَنَ الْمَضْحَكِ. I used to have a nice smile once upon a time. وَبِيَدِهِ قَضِيبٌ يَضْرِبُ بِهِ ثَنَايَاهِ. He takes his staff and he starts to hit the teeth of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. تَارَةً يَضْرِبُ بِهِ أَنْفَ الْحُسَيْنِ. He hits the nose of Imam Hussein. وَأُخْرَى يَضْرِبُ بِهِ عَيْنَيْهِ. He pokes it into the eyes of the Imam. وَتَارَةً يَطْعَنُ فِي فَمِهِ. And he sticks it into the mouth of the Imam. وَأُخْرَى يَضْرِبُ بِثَنَايَاهِ. And then he taps on the teeth. قال ابن زياد يوم بيوم بدر. Yeah, we've now finally achieved our full goal, which is revenge for the day of Badr. Right, we as the Banu Umayyah, we suffered a lot on that day. Now you taste a little bit of your own medicine, Hussein. So in the court of Ibn Ziyad, we had Zayd ibn Arqam. فَقَالَ لَهُ إِرْفَعْ قَضِيبَكَ. Yeah, Zayd ibn Arqam, companion of the Prophet, he was blind, and he wasn't blind, but anyway, he was there, and he was a very old man. He wasn't able to fight for Imam Hussein alayhi salam, but he comes and he scolds Ibn Ziyad and says, how dare you lift your staff from the face of Imam al-Hussein. فوالله لطالما رأيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله يقبل ما بين هاتين الشفتين. He says, many a time I saw the Messenger of Allah kiss those very lips that you now disrespect. ثم جعل زيد يبكي. Zayd ibn Arqam, he begins to cry. So Ibn Ziyad asks him, أبكى الله عينيك أتبكي لفتح الله والله لولا أنك شيخ قد خرفت لضربت عنقك. So Ibn Ziyad tells Zayd, because he's crying, he says, may Allah make you always cry. He says, do you dare cry when Allah has given us victory? He says, by God, if you weren't a senile old man, I would have had your head chopped off. فنهض زيد وهو يقول أيها الناس أنتم العبيد بعد اليوم قتلتم ابن فاطمة الصديقة المرضية. So Zayd lectures the people in the court. He turns away from Ibn Ziyad and tells them, "O people, you from this day forward will be slaves. You've signed yourself up enlisted yourself as slaves of these people, of these rulers. You've killed the son of Fatima. وَأَمَّرْتُمْ إِبْنَ مَرْجَانَ الْخَبِيثَ. And instead of Hussein, you've now chosen as your Amir the son of this prostitute Marjana. وَاللَّهِ لَيَقْتُلَنَّ أَخْيَارَكُمْ وَلَيَسْتَعْبِدَنَّ شِرَارَكُمْ فَبُعْدًا لِمَنْ رَضِيَ بِالذُّلِّ وَالْعَارِ. He says, by God, he is going to kill and murder the best of you, and he's going to make slaves out of the worst of you. As anyone who's happy with this kind of disgrace, may Allah cast that person far away from his mercy. The family of Imam Hussein, when they're brought in to Ibn Ziyad's this court, دخلت زينب أخت الحسين في جملتهم متنكرة. So say that Zainab, she's also with the group of women, but it's not clear who she is. So she's kind of covered or whatever she's done to make it so she looks like any other woman. وعليها أرذل ثيابها. She has the most tattered, worst clothes you can imagine. That's what she's wearing. فمضت حتى جلست ناحية من القصر. So they come in, they sit, and she sits way off in the corner, far away from everything. وحفت بها إماؤها. And so around her, right, she's the one who is. They're all in very bad state and not dressed properly at all. But the rest of the women, to protect Sayyidah Zainab, they stand around her and block people's view from Sayyidah Zainab. استلفت نظر ابن زياد فقال من هذه التي انحازت فجلست ناحية ومعها نساؤها وهي متنكرة. So Ibn Ziyad, he's watching them and he sees there's something special about this one person, so he's curious, who is this person? And he asks the people around him, who is this woman who's sitting there or surrounded by these other women? فَلَمْ تُجِبْهُ Zainab. Sayyidah Zainab, she refuses to talk to him, she doesn't even respond. فَقَالَ لَهُ بَعْضُ إِمَائِهَا هَذِهِ زَيْنَبْ بِنْتُ فَاطِمَةَ بِنْتِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. The women around her, they introduce her and say, this is Zainab, the daughter of Fatima, the granddaughter of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فَأَقْبَلَ عَلَيْهَا Ibn Ziyad. Ibn Ziyad, he comes close to her, to Sayyidah Zainab. فَقَالَ لَهَا الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ الَّذِي فَضَحَكُمْ وَقَتَلَكُمْ وَأَكْذَبَ أُحْدُوثَتَكُمْ. He says, praise be to Allah who has disgraced you, who has murdered you, and who has revealed all of your lies. فقالت زينب سلام الله عليها الحمد لله الذي أكرمنا بنبيه محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وطهرنا من الرجس تطهيرا إنما يفتضح الفاسق ويكذب الفاجر وهو غيرنا. She says, no, praise be to God who has ennobled us by giving us his Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and who has purified us of all sorts of impurities. The only one who is disgraced is the corrupt and the liar, and that is other than us. That is you, not us. Ibn Ziyad says, كيف رأيت صنع الله بأخيك وأهل بيتك. He says, how do you like what Allah has done to your brother and to your family? He asks Sayyidah Zainab. فقالت ما رأيت إلا جميلا. From Allah I've seen nothing but good. Right? My complaints are not against Allah but against you. هؤلاء قوم كتب الله عليهم القتل. These people, these men of ours, they were men for whom Allah had destined that they be killed in this way. فبرزوا إلى مضاجعهم. Right? They rose up, they fought, and they ended up in their rightful graves. فَسَيَجْمَعُ اللَّهُ بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَهُم. On the day of judgment, Allah will raise you and He'll raise them and judge between you. فَتُحَاجَّ وَتُخَاصِمَ. فَانظُرْ لِمَنِ الْفَلَجِ يَوْمَئِذٍ ثَكِلَتْكَ أُمُّكَ يَبْنَ مَرْجَانَ. So see on that day who is successful, who is victorious on that day. That's what counts. May your mother be bereaved of you, Ibn Marjana. He refers to him by Ibn Marjana purposefully because he hated that name. He hated his mother, and he hated the fact that people would call him this. He wanted to be called, by the Umayyad kind of side of his family. فَغَضِبَ ابن زياد وَاسْتَشَاطَ مِنْ كَلَامِهَا مَعَ. So he gets very upset that she's talking back to him in this way in public. وَفِي ذَلِكَ الْمُحْتَشَدِ وَكَأَنْ هَمَّ بِهَا. Right, he's about to go for her, to attack her, or do something, slap her, do something to her. فَقَالَ لَهُ عَمْرُ بْنُ حُرَيْث. Somebody steps forward and he says, أَيُّهَا الْأَمِيرُ إِنَّهَا إِمْرَأَةٌ وَالْمَرْأَةُ لَا تُؤَاخَذُ بِشَيْءٍ مِّن مَنْطِقِهَا وَلَا تُذَمُّ عَلَى خَطَئِهَا. He says, she's just a woman. Women, don't pay attention to what women say. What are women? That's his attitude. If they say something, you don't blame them for it. فالتفت إليها ابن زياد وقال لقد شفى الله قلبي من طاغيتك حسين. Ibn Ziyad, he says one last thing to her. He says, Allah has satisfied my heart. He's cooled my heart by allowing us to take revenge on this evil brother of yours, Hussein, he tells her. وَالْعُسَاةِ الْمَرَدَ مِنْ أَهْلِ بَيْتِكَ. And these sinful, rebellious people from your Ahlul Bayt. فَرَقَّتِ الْعَقِيلَةُ زَيْنَبْ وَبَكَتْ وَقَالَتْ لَهُ. Zainab begins to cry and she tells Ibn Ziyad, لَعَمْرِي لقد قتلت كهلي وأبرزت أهلي وقطعت فرعي واجتثثت أصلي. She says, you've killed our men, you've taken our family, you've cut us down, and you've removed our very roots, you've plucked up our very roots. فإن كان هذا شفاؤك فقد اشتفيت. If this is what you call avenging yourself, then fine, you've had your vengeance. فقال ابن زياد هذه سجاعة. And this is what a poet she is. She has such nice words. ولا أمري لقد كان أبوها سجاعا شاعرا He says her father, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he also used to be a very good poet. He was very good with words like she is. She's inherited this art from him. فَقَالَتْ مَا لِلْمَرْأَةِ وَالسِّجَاعَةِ. Now she plays the game too. She says, I'm just a woman. How could a woman know anything about poetry? إِنَّ لِي عَنِ السِّجَاعَةِ لَشُغُلًا. I have better things to do than to write poetry and to compose fancy words. وَلَكِنْ صَدْرِي نَفَثَ بِمَا قُلْتِ. Like what I've said are sincere words from the bottom of my heart. ثُمَّ أُرِدَ عَلَيْهِ عَلِيُّ بْنُ الْحُسَيْنِ. So after his encounter with Sayyidah Zainab in the court, Imam Sajjad he comes to Imam Sajjad. He says, Man ant? Who are you? فَقَالَ أَنَا عَلِيُّ بْنُ الْحُسَيْنِ. Yeah, he introduces himself. فَقَالَ أَلَيْسَ قَدْ قَتَلَ اللَّهُ عَلِيَّ بْنَ الْحُسَيْنِ. I thought God already took care of him. I thought God killed Ali ibn al-Husayn. فَقَالَ لَهُ Imam Zayn al-Abidin, قَدْ كَانَ لِي أَخٌ أَكْبَرُ مِنِّي يُسَمَّى عَلِيًّا قَتَلَهُ النَّاسِ. He says, that's true. I had a brother also named Ali ibn al-Husayn. People killed him. He makes a point, people killed him, not Allah. Ibn Ziyad, one of their tactics was to try to say, oh, it's all Allah's will. Whatever Allah wills, that's what happens. Allah killed your brother. He says, no, people killed my brother, not Allah. فَقَالَ ابْنُ زِيَادٍ بَلِ اللَّهُ قَتَلَهُ. No, Allah is the one who killed him. فَقَالَ عَلِيُّ بْنُ الْحُسَيْنِ. He starts quoting the Quran. He says, اللَّهُ يَتَوَفَّى الْأَنفُسَ حِينَ مَوْتِهَا. Allah is the one who takes souls at the time of death. وَمَا كَانَ لِنَفْسٍ أَن تَمُوتَ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. Nobody can die unless it's by the will of Allah. فَغَضِبَ ابْنُ زِيَادٍ وَقَالَ وَبِكَ جُرْأَةٌ لِجَوَابِي. You have you dare to answer me and to come, to refute me and argue with me. وَفِيكَ بَقِيَّةٌ لِلرَّدِّ عَلَيْهِ. You still have the strength to be able to argue with me. اذهبوا فاضربوا عنقه. Take him away and strike his neck, chop off his head. فتعلقت به زينب وقالت يا ابن زياد حسبك من دمائنا ما سفكت. She says, say that Zainab, she grabs onto Imam Sajjad and she says to Ibn Ziyad, she says that you've taken enough of our blood today. You've spilled enough of our blood today. وهل أبقيت أحدا غير هذا. You've left no one except for this one person from our men. وَاعْتَنَقَتْهُ وَقَالَتْ لَا وَاللَّهِ لَا أُفَارِقُهُ. She says, by God, I won't leave him. فَإِن قَتَلْتَهُ فَاقْتُلْنِي مَعَهُ. If you're going to kill him, then you have to kill me with him. فَنَظَرَ إِبْنُ زِيَادٍ إِلَيْهَا وَإِلَيْهِ سَاعَةً. So Ibn Ziyad, he looks back and forth at them for a few moments. ثُمَّ قَالَ عَجَبًا لِلرَّحِمِ. What kind of a relationship is this familial ties? He has no family. He was bought into the Umayyad family, but he has no real family. He's in wonder at this love that these two people have for each other. Wallahi inni la adhunnuha waddat anni qataltuha ma'a. It seems like she actually wants me to kill her with him. Da'uhu fa inni arahu lima bih. He tells his people, leave him. He's going to die of his sickness anyway. Just let him die on his own. Inna Ali ibn al-Husayn qala li ammatihi uskuti ya amma hatta ukallimahu. So now Imam Sajjad, he stands forward and tells Sayyidah Zainab, it's time for you to be silent. Let me now speak to him personally. ثم أقبل عليه. So he steps forth and speaks to Ibn Ziyad. He says, أَبِالْقَتْلِ تُهَدِّدُنِي يَا ابْنَ زِيَادٍ. Do you dare to threaten me with death? أَمَا عَلِمْتَ أَنَّ الْقَتْلَ لَنَا عَادَةً وَكَرَامَتُنَا الشَّهَادَةً. Do you not know that it is a habit in my family? It's a recurring theme in my family that we're murdered by the likes of you. And the shahada and martyrdom that we receive is the way that we attain our great station before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me share one last story with you. ثم جمع ابن زياد الناس في المسجد. So then they move to the masjid and Ibn Ziyad collects all the people there. فصعد المنبر وخطب وقال الحمد لله. So now he's dealt with Ahlul Bayt. Now he goes in front of the people to kind of let them know what's happened. الحمد لله الذي أظهر الحق وأهله. He says, praise be to Allah. Ibn Ziyad is speaking. Praise be to Allah who has brought forth the truth and made the truth and its followers victorious. وَنَصَرَ أَمِيرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ يَزِيدَ وَحِزْبَهُ. And he's given victory to the commander of the faithful Yazid and his party. وَقَتَلَ الْكَذَّابَ ابْنَ الْكَذَّابَ الْحُسَيْنَ ibn Ali. And he's killed the lying son of a lying father, Husayn ibn Ali وَشِيعَتَهُ. فَمَا زَادَ عَلَى الْكَلَامِ شَيْئًا. And then he stopped and he didn't say anything else. So فَلَمْ يُنْكِرْ عَلَيْهِ أَحَدٌ مِّنْ أُولَٰئِكَ الْجَمْعِ. Like all the hundreds, maybe thousands of people who were there, these are the same people who wrote letters to Imam Hussein. The same people, at least now they've seen what's happened. At least now they've heard Sayyidah Zainab. At least now they've heard Imam Sajjad, and they should have had some conscience. Remember the conversation with Imam Sajjad? Not a single person dares speak to Ibn Ziyad and say, how dare you say this about Hussein? It's total silence. Illa Abdullah ibn al-Afif. So Abdullah ibn Afif al-Azdi, he's the only one who has the courage to stand up. So كان من خيار الشيعة وزهادها وكانت عينه اليسرى ذهبت يوم الجمل والأخرى في يوم الصفين. So he was an elderly man, and he was one of the best of the people of Kufa. He was one of the people who was known for his asceticism. He was always worshipping, always praying. And he had lost his left eye in the battle of Jamal, fighting alongside Imam Ali alayhi salam. And he lost his right eye in the battle of Siffin. So he's totally blind now. وَكَانَ يُلَازِمُ الْمَسْجِدَ الْأَعْظَمِ وَيُصَلِّي فِيهِ اللَّيْلِ. He used to basically spend all of his time in the masjid of Kufa, and he would stay up at night and pray tahajjud in that masjid. So he now speaks up, and he says, يَبْنَ زِيَادٍ الْكَذَّابُ ابْنُ الْكَذَّابِ أَنْتَ وَأَبُوكَ. The lying son of the lying father are you and your father. وَالَّذِي وَلَّاكَ وَأَبُوهُ. And the one who has empowered you, who's Yazid, and his father, who is Muawiyah. They're the lying sons of lying fathers. يَبْنَ مَرْجَانَ أَتَقْتُلُونَ أَبْنَاءَ النَّبِيِّينَ وَتَتَكَلَّمُونَ بِكَلَامِ الصِّدِّيقِينَ عَلَى مَنَابِرِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Do you dare first kill the children of prophets, and then you speak as though you're some very righteous person as you stand on top of the pulpit which belongs only to the believers? Ibn Ziyad becomes extremely angry. He says, "Man hadha al-mutakallim?" Who is this who's speaking? So Ibn Afif says, "Ana al-mutakallim, ya adu wallah." I'm the one who's speaking. He draws attention to himself. I'm the one who's speaking, O enemy of Allah. أتقتل الذرية الطاهرة التي قد أذهب الله عنها الرجس. Do you dare kill this righteous progeny, this pure progeny from whom Allah Himself has removed all impurities? وَتَزْعُمُ أَنَّكَ عَلَى دِينِ الْإِسْلَامِ. And yet you think, you have the gall to think that you are still a Muslim? وَغَوْثَاهُ أَيْنَ أَوْلَادِ الْمُهَاجِرِينَ وَالْأَنصَارِ. Now he's trying to get something out of the other people. Where are the children of the Muhajirin and Ansar who helped the Prophet at one time? The children are now here in Kufa. Where are they? Why are they silent? لِيَنْتَقِمُوا مِنْ طَاغِيَتِكَ اللَّعِينِ ابْنِ اللَّعِينِ عَلَى لِسَانِ رَسُولِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. Where are they when we now need to take revenge upon this accursed father of an accursed son who's been cursed by the messenger himself? Ibn Ziyad becomes even angrier. And he says, عَلَيَّ بِهِ, bring him to me. فَقَامَتْ إِلَيْهِ الْجَلَاوِذَ مِنْ كُلِّ نَاحِيَةٍ لِيَأْخُذُوهُ. So the guards in the masjid, Ibn Ziyad's guards, they close in on Abdullah ibn Afif to capture him, because Ibn Ziyad wants to take him. فَنَادَى ابْنُ عَفِيفْ بِشَعَارِ الْأَزْدِ. He's from the tribe of Azd. He makes the call. He says, Ya Mabrur. That's their code word in the tribe of Azd to say, I need help. So he says, Ya Mabrur. And suddenly 700 men from within the masjid, all like sleeper cells all around, 700 men jump up. They surround Abdullah ibn Afif to protect him. فَانْتَزَعُوهُ مِنْ أَيْدِ الْجَلَاوَذَ. And the 700 men, they leave the masjid altogether with Ibn Afif in the middle, and they're able to take him away from all of these guards and soldiers of Ibn Ziyad. وَأَخْرَجُوهُ مِنْ بَابِ الْمَسْجِدِ وَانْطَلَقُوا بِهِ إِلَى مَنْزِلِهِ. And they're able to take him all the way home without anyone touching him. Ibn Ziyad says, اذهبوا إلى هذا الأعمى. He tells his soldiers, go and go to the house of this blind man. الذي أعمى الله قلبه كما أعمى عينيه. This blind man whose heart Allah has blinded the way He blinded his eyes. Ibn Ziyad says about Abdullah ibn Afif. فَأْتُونِي بِهِ, and bring him to me. So the guards, they go and they retrieve him. فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ ذَلِكَ الْأَزْدِ اجْتَمَعُوا وَاجْتَمَعَتْ مَعَهُمْ قَبَائِلُ الْيَمَنِ لِيَمْنَعُوا صَاحِبَهُم. Right, so the word spreads in the tribe of Azd, who are there in Kufa, and they call in all of their ranks, and they surround the house of Abdullah ibn Afif, and there's a small battle that takes place there in Kufa between the tribe of Azd, the Yemeni Azd, and the troops of Ibn Ziyad. فَاقْتَتَلُوا قِتَالًا شَدِيدًا. A very serious battle ensued. حَتَّى قُتِلَ مِنَ الْفَرِيقَيْنِ جَمَاعًا. And many were killed from both sides. وَوَصَلَ أَصْحَابُ ibn al-Ash'ath ila dari ibn Afif. But at the end, they're able, the forces of Ibn al-Ash'ath, probably Muhammad ibn al-Ash'ath or Qais ibn al-Ash'ath, they're able to finally reach the door of Ibn Afif. فَكَسَرُوا الْبَابِ وَاقْتَحَمُوا عَلَيْهِ الدَّارِ. They break down the door, they force their way in. فَصَاحَتْ إِبْنَتُهُ. The daughter of Abdullah ibn Afif, she cries out to warn her father that they've been able to make their way in. أَتَاكَ الْقَوْمِ مِنْ حَيْثُ تَحْذَرُ. She says to her father, they've come, they've been able to come just the way you were afraid that they would come. فَقَالَ لَهَا لَا عَلَيْكِ. He says, don't worry, my daughter. نَاوِلْنِي سَيْفِي. He says, just give me my sword. This is a blind old man. He was a warrior in his day, but now he's an old man and he can't even see. He says, give me my sword. فَنَاوَلَتْهُ إِيَّاهُ فَجَعَلَ يَذُبُّ عَنْ نَفْسِهِ. So she gives him his sword and he begins to defend himself. وجعلت ابنته تقول له يا أبتي ليتني كنت رجلا أذب بين يديك هؤلاء الفجرة. She says, the daughter says, I wish I were a man that I could come and defend you, my father. The father says, Abdullah says, no, so the soldiers, they come in and they circle around Abdullah ibn Afif. وهو يذب عن نفسه فلم يقدر عليه أحد. And he's able to defend himself in a way that nobody's able to get close to him. وَكُلَّمَا جَاءُوا مِنْ جِهَةٍ. As the guards, the soldiers would come from one side, his daughter from above, she would say, turn this way, turn that way. And she was able to guide him and he would go and strike in that direction as the soldiers came in that direction. He was able to kill many of the soldiers in that way. فَلَمْ يَقْدِرْ عَلَيْهِ أَحَدٍ. No one was able to touch him. وَكُلَّمَا جَاءُوا مِنْ جِهَةٍ قالت له ابنته يا أبتي جاءوك من هذه جهة كذا حتى تكاثروا عليه وأحاطوا به. But when the numbers got too many, they were able to surround him. فقالت ابنته وَاذُ اللَّهِ يُحَاطُ بِأَبِي وَلَيْسَ لَهُ نَاصِرٌ يَسْتَعِينُ بِهِ فَجَعَلَ يَدُورُ بِسَيْفِهِ. Yes, it got too much, he couldn't do anything, so he just started spinning around in circles with his sword just to defend himself like that, because he couldn't keep track of where they were coming from. Finally, they're able to take him. And they take him to the court of Ibn Ziyad. فَلَمَّا رَآهُ قَالَ Ibn Ziyad الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ الَّذِي أَعْمَى عَيْنَيْكِ. Yeah, Ibn Ziyad tells Abdullah ibn Afif, praises to Allah who's made you blind, who's taken your eyes from you. Ibn Afif responds, Alhamdulillah alladhi a'ma qalbak. So praises to Allah who has blinded your heart. My eyes might be gone, but your heart is dead. Ibn Ziyad says, Ya adu Allah, ma taqulu fi Uthman ibn Affan. Now what do you say about the noble Uthman ibn Affan? What's your opinion about him? That's the litmus test for this person. فَشَتَمَهُ ibn Afif. Yeah, he says nothing but bad things about Uthman. He says, Ya عبد بني علاج يا ابن مرجانة ما أنت وعثمان ابن عفان أساء أو أحسن وأصلح أم أفسد. And he says, what do you have to do with Uthman ibn Affan? He's not even related to you. Yeah, you have no relation to the Bani Umayyah. Why do you care if he was good or bad? Leave him alone. وإن الله تبارك وتعالى ولي خلقه يقضي بينهم وبين عثمان بالعدل والحق. Yeah, leave Allah to judge between Uthman and the people. ولكن سلني عن أبيك وعنك وعن يزيد وأبي. If you want to ask me my opinion, ask me about you and your father. Ask me about Yazid and Muawiyah. I have a lot to say about you all. Ibn Ziyad says, لا سألتك عن شيء. I haven't asked you about any of that stuff. Don't speak about me or my father or Yazid or his father. Finally, Abdullah says, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ama inni qad kuntu as'alu Allah Rabbi an yarzuqani ash-shahadata min qabli an talidaka ummuk. So Abdullah ibn Afif says, Alhamdulillah, praises to Allah, because I, for the longest time, even before you were born, Ibn Marjana, even before you were born, I used to pray that Allah grant me the gift of shahada, of martyrdom. وَسَأَلْتُ اللَّهَ أَن يَجْعَلَ ذَلِكَ عَلَى يَدَيْ أَلْعَنِ خَلْقِهِ وَأَبْغَضِهِمْ إِلَيْهِ. And I begged Allah to make my martyrdom be at the hands of the worst of creatures, the one whom Allah hates the most. فَلَمَّا كُفَّ بَصَرِي يَئِسْتُ مِنَ الشَّهَادَةِ. When I lost my second eye, I lost all hope that I would ever achieve martyrdom, because I couldn't fight anymore. وَالْآنْ فَالْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ. But now I see that Allah has answered my prayers. Praises to Allah, الَّذِي رَزَقَنِيهَا بَعْدَ الْيَأْسِ مِنْهَا وَعَرَّفَنِ الْإِجَابَةَ مِنْهُ فِي قَدِيمِ دُعَائِي. Praises to Allah who has granted me this martyrdom, and He's answered my prayers that I made so long ago. So Ibn Ziyad says, اضربوا عن عنقه. Chop his head off. فضربت عنقه وصلب في السبخة. And so he's executed, and his body is left in these salt marshes to rot over there. Sallallahu alayhi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And this is unconventional, but there's a very beautiful poem that I'd like to recite. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Love of my heart, you're the light of my eyes. Hussein, light of my eyes. Love of my heart, you're the light of my eyes. Hussein, light of my eyes. Love of my heart, you're the light of my eyes. Hussein, light of my eyes. Zainab, my sweet, they will bind both your feet. They will tear away your veil. They will come for Ali. They will curse him 'cause of me. They will torture him, you'll see. And we'll never be far from the pain of Ashura, from the pain of Ashura. Love of my heart, you're the light of my eyes. Hussein, light of my eyes. Love of my heart, you're the light of my eyes. Hussein, light of my eyes. They will curse Mustafa and my father Murtada, for they hate all that's good, all the good for which they stood. From my mother they did steal, yet the truth Allah revealed. And we'll never be far from the pain of Fatima, from the pain of Fatima. Love of my heart, you're the light of my eyes. Hussein, light of my eyes. Love of my heart, you're the light of my eyes. Hussein, light of my eyes. Where the sand lies dry as hell, where the holy blood did spill, where the souls of martyrs dwell. My sweet Zainab, do not fear. Know Allah is always near. Know Allah all things does hear. And we'll never be far from the plain of Karbala, from the plain of Karbala. Love of my heart, you're the light of my eyes. Hussein, light of my eyes. Love of my heart, you're the light of my eyes. Hussein, light of my eyes. We shall face cursed Yazid. We shall face cursed Yazid. After all his evil deeds, you will preach what is right. In my face he will spit. To Allah we shall return. For this meeting we do yearn. And we'll never be far from the call of Allah, from the call of Allah. Love of my heart, you're the light of my eyes. Hussein, light of my eyes. Love of my heart, you're the light of my eyes. Hussein, light of my eyes. We will fight until the end. For this love we will defend. On Allah we will depend. For jihad is our way, from now till judgment day. And these words we shall pray. and we'll never be far from the path of Allah, from the path of Allah. Love of my heart, you're the light of my eyes, Hussein, light of my eyes. Love of my heart, you're the light of my eyes, Hussein, light of my eyes. Salawat.